Hi guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how to make a little tool holder that you can mount on pegboard. You can mount it on a wall with some L brackets that are really easy to make, but I'm not going to show you how to do that today. And what it's going to do is it's just a piece of wood that I'm going to drill some holes in and make it so that it can hold like chisels is what I'm going to use. You could really easily make it for screwdrivers, pretty much everything. I mean, I've made it for mostly everything that I have on my wall of pegboard, kind of in my little section of the bench. So here is an example of it. There's where I did it for some. Where the heck? Where did I put? Anyway, for some they're the Daredevil speed bore bits from Bosch. They're spade bits. I did it for my glue stand. Put the other piece of glue out there, or glue thing. For some countersink bits. For whatever. Anyway, I've done it for a lot of things, so I have experience doing it. They work pretty dang well too, and they hold it really sturdy, obviously. So let's get started. So first, what you're gonna want to do is take a piece of wood. I'm just using a scrap that I refinished a bench for somebody, so I'm just using a piece of the wood that I got from the bench. I think it's oak. So well, at some point I'm gonna sand this down, so forget about the crappy watermarks and everything. So what you want to do is cut off 9.5 inches of this wood to be used, which I'm gonna do right now. Okay, so the best way to cut this is definitely going to be with a chop saw or miter saw, which I do happen to have right there. It's my dad's, which is going to be the most accurate and easy way to cut it and quickest. But it's late here, so I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to use it's an Irwin Marples, apparently. Whatever, they sell it as an Irwin double-sided pole cut saw, so it's really nice actually. It cuts on the pole cut rather than the push cut, so I find that I can get a little better control with that. I am gonna try and use this for cutting dovetail joints at some point. So I'll let you guys know how that ends up. Okay, back in a second after I cut this. Okay, so here I am after cutting this. I've cut it to length. As you can see, I kind of screwed up. The saw jumped off the thing. Got a little mark there, so I'm going to make this piece the bottom, maybe. Yeah, so I'm going to make this side the bottom, even though this has a hole in it. I'm not that worried about it looking good. So next up, I'm just going to sand this down and make it look all fine and nice. Yeah, obviously, if you use just stock from like Home Depot, or if you go to a hardwood dealer for God only knows what reason, for parts for your workshop. But anyway, so if you get a decent wood, or if it's not, I guess, used, reclaimed, I guess might be a better word. You're not gonna have to sand it, obviously, but I'm just gonna sand this. I'm gonna go, just for reference, if you're using reclaimed wood from like a pallet or something, start off with 60 grit and then jump right up to 220 grit. Okay, so now that my piece is nice and sanded, well, not really nice and sanded, but okay, rather poorly sanded. Anyway, all I wanted to do was make sure that it wasn't splintering and that I could nicely run my hand across it without getting any kind of splinters, and kind of clean off some of the old, I guess it was varnish or something, some kind of stain that was used on here, so it doesn't look quite as bad. And if I really want to, I could sand this down and make it look really nice, because it is decent wood. It's not dry, it's not rotted or anything. But I'm lazy, so I'm not going to do that. So next step is to take a bit. I use my set of spade bits because I find that I have a larger variance in sizes of spade bits, whereas my dad's drill bits, okay, well, I have a larger variance in drill bits, but the size of the shank of my chisels, which is right here, well, shank maybe, I don't know. Chisels cost me about 10 bucks at Home Depot. So they're kind of crap, maybe even less. Anyway, so the size of this piece, the largest size here is what you want to make it. So you're gonna get, I used a 9/16 bit, which I happen to have in my hand drill, because I find that the spade bits, the Daredevil bits that Bosch puts out, don't work well in the drill press that I have, which is just the cheapo Harbor Freight one. I mean, the drill press works great. I love the thing. It works fine for all my needs, but it just doesn't have enough power to push one of these things. And my drill, it's an 18 volt lithium ion Ryobi. I think it's their older. It's like the first lithium ion they came out with when they had that green color. So, but I find this in not the speed mode, high speed mode in the first setting here, which is like driving mode, I think. It works a lot better in those. So I'm gonna get back to you after I finish drilling out these holes. Oh, by the way, the holes are gonna be, just take whatever your best guess is on spreading them out evenly. It's not really that big of a deal, seeing as it's just something to hold something. So I'll get back to you after I finish that. So when marking out the holes, for this I'm gonna use a speed square, just because it's what I happen to have on hand. Oh, sorry if my head's cut off, but and so I'm just going to take the speed square, not like that, like this, and then scribe a line somewhere near the middle-ish. Okay, and then I'm going to come over to the other side and line this up here, which is going to take a second, sorry. Okay, so now that I've got the line, it's really nowhere near the middle. Okay, so now that I've got that, I'm going to divide it in half. Sorry. So divide it in half, and then have both of the other sides. So that'll give you about 3 points where you can drill in. And it'll be decently evenly spread out, so it's not really noticeable unless you check it, or unless you screw something up horribly. So next up, I'm just going to drill through with that speed bit. Okay guys, so here's yet another helpful hint. When starting to drill holes, I will usually take I can never find the thing, crap. There we go. Anyway, I'll usually take a nail set, or if you're lucky enough to have one or have excess money, and okay, if you have a center punch, use that. They're not really that expensive either. And just tap in the center of these things, and it'll get your bit started better, and it won't wander or walk or whatever you call it. So, back in a second. So, helpful hint number 2. When drilling holes, especially with something that's as, I guess, crude could be a word that I would use maybe to describe this, as a spade bit, you want to use a backer block under your wood. I didn't, because I don't really care what this looks like, but if you're doing something that's nice, or you are trying to make your stuff look like really professional, if you have people walking into your shop, say you work at a professional, say you're a professional level woodworker, which you obviously wouldn't be watching this video. But anyway, so if you care about what people think of your shop, I'd use a backer board on this, just because these spade bits are really crude. Like if you're gonna use like a Forstner bit or something, I guess you might not need it as much, but I'd still use one just to be safe. Okay, back in a second. So now after drilling the 3 holes that I drilled, which are horribly off center, I'd recommend marking it much better than I did and actually measuring it out. Anyway, I'm going to take my saw and I'm going to cut down a line going like that, okay, on either side of this, so that it creates a slot that I can just slide the chisel into, and then it just kind of rests there. So now I've gone and cut the first section out of this, which was the middle section for me. So I'm just going to test the fit right here with one of my chisels, and I can see that it slides in fine. Well, it's going to be upside down, so I can, sorry guys, I can see that it slides in fine onto this and drops in and doesn't have a problem holding in. So that's how the rest are going to look. Now there is a much better way to do this than with a saw like the one that I have, which I told you what it was. You could also use a back saw instead of this one. You could use, if you're really desperate, you could use a coping saw, but it's not going to be a straight cut at all. Yeah, you can use the dovetail saw, would probably work fine. Another much better way to do it is to take it over to what's called a crosscut sled on a table saw. And like I have already done on the first one that I tried and messed up horribly, take it and slide it in here like this, and then through this little thing, you run the blade through it so it's at the same height as the top side of this circle, and then you run it through a few passes and then get it so it's the same. Make sure that your blade's square though if you're going to do that. Mine wasn't. So I'll be back. Okay guys, here's just a little tip for using a saw like this. This isn't going to work for a back saw, it's only going to work for a saw just like this where it doesn't have a rib on it. This is just straight up and down with nothing supporting it. You can take a speed square, and well, first you're going to want to start your cut right here. Make sure the blade's square with this, as in like this. So if I were to hold this up there, the blade would be square. And run this up there, start the cut a bit, and then you can actually hold the speed square up like this, and then hold the saw against the speed square, and then run the saw against it, and that'll give you a perfectly square up and down cut, or mostly square up and down cut at least. So guys, I'm back. Here's the finished, well, semi-finished product. Next step is going to be mounting it. So here you can see how it looks. You can even see, if I can find my chisel, you can even see how the chisels go in, and it'll fit in right there, fit in right there, fit in right there, and these will all fit in like this. The my inch, and I think the other one's 3/4 inch or 1/2 inch, and the other one's like a 1/4 inch. Anyway, those will all fit in here fine. I know I built these before. The other one happened to, my brother got to it, my little brother got to it, and drilled a few holes in it, which was real fun to come out and see him doing. So at least he didn't hurt himself. That's the biggest issue. So I'll show you guys how to mount it. Okay guys, so to mount these, at least on pegboard, if you use the Harbor Freight hooks that they sell in the big, it's like a 64 pack or something close to that. Don't quote me on that number. But a 9/16 drill bit will drill a hole the perfect size to slip these in. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to take this piece over to the drill press, which I happen to have right there, and you're going to set the piece in, chuck up the 9/64 bit. Just a second. Yes, the 9/64 bit, just to make sure. And you're going to drill a hole in about this area, so about here on the top, on the side that does not have the cutouts out, so the top. And then you're going to drill a hole, and then after that you're going to, well, I'll show you. Okay, so now after checking the fit of this hook into there, into the wood, so you can see where I drilled the hole, you're going to line this up perpendicular to the piece of wood, and then you're going to come over to your pegboard, the other side over here, and you're going to hook it in, pegboard, and then you're going to mark. See right there, you're going to mark that with a pencil, and then you're going to drill that hole out on the back. Be back. Okay guys, so here's the finished product. It's got the 2 hooks in the back drilled out, and well, not finished. I need to sand this down and get rid of this pencil mark, and then I'm going to finish it with a some of this. It's called boiled linseed oil. You can get it at Home Depot, pretty much everywhere. I'm sure Lowe's will carry it too. So I'm going to sand this down, finish it with a boiled linseed oil, and it will end up looking something like this. Okay, so this is what it looks like when it's finished, linseed oil added. This is my old one that just you dropped them in, but I forgot. Now I've got stuff above where I keep my chisels, so I can no longer reach in to drop them in and pull them out, otherwise I'd be hitting the things that are above it. So I'm going to show you it being installed, which is really easy. You just take it over here. This is really hard to do through the viewfinder, and line the other one up. God, this is impossible. Okay, and then it's installed, and then to insert your chisel, you just kind of line it up there, and then it's fit, and then it fits. An improvement that you might want to make, that's the wrong thing, is to cut out a little thing here so it's a little easier to slip them in, but I don't see any issues with it right now. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want. I'll be putting out some more woodworking videos hopefully in the future, near future, and hopefully that'll get to be on a schedule. Thanks for watching. Bye.